Всем привет! Вы на канале Games for TV. И сегодня мы поиграем в игрушку под названием The Stanley Parable. Это такая офисная игруля. Интересная. Я о ней слышал отзывы, но сам как-то в нее еще не играл. Сейчас и начнем. Проверим, что это такое, с чем его едят и как она играется. Говорят, очень веселая. Такая необычная игра.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what
Это моя мама
buttons
так
to push,
пишет.
how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-wrenching,
Он так
Stanley
пишет на
relished
клавиатуре
every
весело.
moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
А если я не хочу? А вдруг я не хочу? Это все? Ну ладно. Ну вышел я.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Так, это сюда. Мяу. Meeting room. И дальше, да? Так. Так. Долго еще идти?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ха-ха-ха. А если я хочу сюда? Интересно. Он сказал, что я влево вошел. А я непослушный, знаете.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Нет, я просто... Ха. Закрыто все. Ну ладно.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Я могу дальше пойти. Ну ладно, давайте.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Так, будем послушными.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Broom closet. О, открыто.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Точно? А если проверю? Ладно. Пошлите дальше. А, вниз, вверх.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ну ладно. Пошлите наверх. Закрыто. Ничего себе, такой офис. Executive bedroom. Нет, мне это не надо. Не надо. Так, секретарши нет. Ничего себе, офис такой.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Я проморгал. Я код вводил в это время.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But 2845.
2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Где? А. Ну окей, пошлите сюда. Так, что здесь интересного? Лифт. Ну хорошо, давайте в лифт. Так, опять загрузочка. Долгие эти загрузки, однако. Там-пам-пам-пам-пам.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Что, мне дальше идти? Хорошо. Какой-то подвал спустились вообще непонятный.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. Escape? Не, я сюда пойду. Закрылась дверь? Закрылась. Обратно нельзя. Хорошо, пошлите сюда.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Of course. Of course. Так, потом туда еще. Видеокамера. 3. Какие-то.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Вот как. Значит, это... Да.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Чё, куда мне? А, сюда?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Что ты такое говоришь?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
А я не хочу. О, кнопка. Ну, кнопка. 4. Здесь даже в этой игре даже прыгать нельзя. О, you can jump. Ачивку достал. Так, 1. 2. Закрыто. Console disabled. Окей. Так. 2, 3, 4. Не хочу. Не буду. Хочу кнопки типа нажимать. Так, вот тройка. Потом там 4. Что это даст, я не знаю. Без понятия. Не даст ли вообще это что? Так, 4. И 5. Которая там. Сейчас глянем, что даст, что такое. Это просто лампочки. Странные какие-то лампочки. Ну ладно. Давайте нажмем эту 5-ю кнопку и посмотрим, что будет. И будет ли вообще что. Может, 6-я еще есть кнопка? Или только 5? Я не знаю, без понятия, не хотелось бы зря время тратить. О! Вот большая красная кнопка. Интересно, что она делает? Так, пошлите внутрь тогда. Ничего себе такой монитор.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Ну, конечно. Ну, конечно же, оф.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Надо же, я игру прошел. Ребята, я игру прошел. Все. Игра пройдена. Шикарно.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Happy end. Ну все. Вот это я понимаю, игра. Взял, поиграл, прошел. За одну запись. Меня заново кинули сюда. А что?
All of his co-workers were gone.
А, ну просто
What did
заново.
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Не. Ладно, я думаю, потом продолжим, возможно. Но это уже будет в следующей записи. Если вам понравилось, мне тоже прикольная игрушка.
No
Здесь
matter how hard Stanley looked, he
много
couldn't
ответов
find
надо
a
искать.
trace of his co-workers.
Ладно, если вам понравилось, подписывайтесь на мой канал, ставьте лайки. Также подписывайтесь на мой канал Twitch. Там я стримлю каждый день после 6-7 часов. Так что заходите, смотрите. И до новых встреч, друзья.